For the past 3 years, filmmaking has taken me all across the globe. But it wasn't until this year, 2019, where I started to look outside of the stories of my experience on these trips. I started to realize that there are stories that are much bigger than myself. And I wanted to dive into those stories in my videos. And some of these stories I've told on this YouTube channel. The story of mass tourism in Venice, the story of why startups are thriving in Stockholm, and some that I've never talked about on this channel. Today we're visiting the world's largest refugee camp. There is over 1 million refugees here. Now, granted, this channel is only 6 months old, but they were older than 6 months, and I haven't told them yet, and I'm gonna do it today. But I can tell you now, the trips that I've taken this year have fundamentally changed the way that I travel. It's changed the outlook on how I see different topics around the world. So today, I want to share with you my 5 top places that I've traveled this year, and as well as telling you the reasons why I think you should consider going to them, I also want to explain how each trip changed my perception on filmmaking and the way that I'm telling stories today. So in the comments, I'm gonna leave a time code to each location, so if you wanna skip around, feel free to do so. In number 5, I have Sardinia, which is an island off the coast of Italy. Now, if you've followed me for the past 2 years on Instagram, you know that I visited Sardinia last year. My good friend Angelo, he lives in Sardinia. He lives on this wonderful island on the Mediterranean with some of the best sunrises and the best sunsets that I've ever seen in my life. Every time I'm there, I just want to be swimming all day long. It's just, it's the best. It's such a relaxing place to be. But it's also somewhere this year that I learned, for such a small island that is not that often talked about, it has a lot to offer. We went there and we hiked Gurupu, and that was where I really decided where I was going to start to take my YouTube. That video itself is kind of like a hiking adventure video, but it was around the time that I really decided that I was going to go in on this new concept on YouTube. I was in Toronto for a project that I was working on with Red Bull about social innovation, and wow, that city is doing some incredible things in the tech community, especially around social innovation, and they're trying to do something that's different from Silicon Valley. They don't want to be the next Silicon Valley. They're very intentional about the way they go about business. Secondly, I haven't been to New York this year, but New York's always my favorite destination in the world. I hope Canadians don't get offended by this, but to me, Toronto seems like a smaller New York, and I really like that. It's extremely diverse. It was just wonderful. Everywhere I went, there was so many different dialects and languages being spoken, and not in specific regions, just throughout the city. I only had 3 days there. That's how much I enjoyed it for it to be in my top 5. My third favorite place that I've been this year has to be Copenhagen. Copenhagen is one of the most peaceful and beautiful cities that I think I've ever been to. It's just the perfect size, it's not too big, and you can kind of get everywhere on a bike. It's like a biking capital of Europe. You have to ride a bike when you're in Copenhagen. The food is wonderful, it's a harbour town, and it's the greenest city in the world. That's what really intrigued me about Copenhagen, how they're trying to be carbon net neutral by 2025. And it's really the trip that kicked off this series. It was the first trip I went on where I was like, okay, let me think a little bit more about how I want to approach these videos. Do I want it to just be another travel video? I feel that one is kind of a blend between them both, but as we've got on to episode 4, Singapore, it was a changing point for me, my stylistic vibe of this series. I'm definitely going to go back in the summer and just experience like summer in Copenhagen. I think that would just be the most relaxing thing ever. I visited Bangladesh in February. This is the one that I want to focus on most because it's the story I haven't told here on YouTube, and it's the trip that put all of this into motion. This is a completely different part of the world to the one that I've grown up in, and it was kind of just mind-blowing. I was there for 7 to 10 days helping university students tell their own story through Instagram stories. And whilst we were there, we visited Kutupalong, which is the world's largest refugee camp. It's in the town of Cox's Bazar. We traveled down from Chittagong on the busiest weekend of the year. But what I didn't realize is Bangladesh is one of the most condensed and overpopulated countries. It has a population of 164 million people, and it's about the size of New York. To put that into context, Russia has a population of around 140 million, and it's this big. Bangladesh has 164, and it's this big. It's a extremely small country. It took us a long time to get down to Cox's Bazar. 8 hours later, we're getting off and we're going to take a smaller vehicle because this traffic is insane. We got to visit the camp where the Rohingya refugees from Myanmar were. We told the story of how Bangladesh is this overpopulated country, but they're helping out these refugees. I'll link the video in the description below if you want to check that out. That was like a big turning point in this trip. Visiting those camps was, I don't know. The people were so welcoming and friendly, but they're homeless. They've been forced out of their country. And yeah, these young children, it was so sad and heart-wrenching, but they were so welcoming and friendly to us. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Throughout our journey through the country, we visited a university that was in the middle of a jungle.
Most natural library you can ever see.
Oh my god.
The people were the most friendly, like heartwarming people. Just chatted for ages afterwards, and we were taking photos and just having a great time.
Selfies done.
And this is a pretty big university campus outside of one of the major cities, which is where all the shipwrecks and boats that are no longer needed around the world are sent. It's essentially a ship graveyard. So many stories in that itself that I want to tell. So I really want to go back to Chittagong. We went to Dhaka. This is what the streets of Dhaka look like. So many people, so much life. It was just, it's a completely different world to the one that I knew in London. And after that trip, I realized that, okay, when I next travel abroad, the next place I go, I want to find out what is unique about that place, and I want to hone in on telling that story. So Bangladesh was incredible. It's a place that I really want to go back to. That makes me want to visit more of that part of the world. So Bangladesh is number 2.
Change of location. This is primarily because the last clip I lost the audio didn't record. My bad. This is autumn in London. It looks beautiful. It doesn't feel it. It's very cold. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 layers. It's not even December yet. It's not even winter. So the final destination might not come as a surprise to you, considering where most of you probably found this YouTube channel from, and that's Singapore. So Singapore was definitely my favorite trip of this year. I'm not going to talk too much on it because I've just released that video. I guess in hindsight, it's the video I'm most proud of that I've ever made. I think it's my favorite video to date. Just the story of Singapore is so intriguing to me, hence why I made that video. And actually the comments from the video have been the most exciting bit because you guys have just put in so much love and intention into the comments. I'm learning stuff from there. You're sharing your thoughts and your opinions. It's like a huge, great big dialogue, and that's what I love about YouTube. That's what I want this channel to be going forward. I want to make more of these videos, and I want all these communities to merge and for us to have a conversation after the fact of just like the video itself. itself. I don't think I mentioned this in the video, but you could spend just a couple of days. If you have a layover, check out Singapore. It takes a couple of days. It's loads of gardens. Like, this park's nice, but it's no Singapore. I better start wrapping this up. If you're an aspiring creator looking for inspiration, what I would say is that looking a little deeper than just the surface level of a destination is where I find the most intriguing stories. I'm sure there's a lot of other videos out there of Singapore, sort of travel related ones. Like, personally with that, I wanted to do something a little bit different, and I think I achieved that. That would be my tip to any fellow creators out there. But yeah, they're my 5. I would love to know where you would like to go in the comments below. Okay, I'll see you in the next one. Oh my god, I came to this park because I thought it would be quite quiet. It's like the middle of the day. There's just bird sounds everywhere. It's like, just going, there's a goose right there. Like, jeez.
Hi. Okay, this is the end of the video. I'm filming ducks now. Okay, bye.